Okay, so here's the fifth and the final video in the run up to your interview with ScaleUp Radio, with me on ScaleUp Radio, and getting the most out of your time on and benefit from being my guest. And in this one, I want to share a little bit about some of the types of questions that I'm going to be asking you so that you've got a little bit of preparation in mind and you can be thinking about how you might, broadly speaking, bring in one or two stories and how you might answer those questions. And it's kind of nice to know, isn't it, in advance of anything you're doing, exactly what you're going to expect, so that you don't feel that you're going to get something coming out of a bolt out of the blue. And something really, first of all, to say up here, I'm not trying to trick you or to catch you out in any way. The whole point of this is to celebrate you as an expert in your area, and to celebrate all the good things that you've done, and tease out some of the things that will help other people on their journey. But it's not about trying to trick you, as I say, and catch you out and suggest there are things that maybe you've done wrong or anything. So we're going to be sticking to your areas of expertise that you should be really comfortable about. And what we're trying to do is to give our audience exactly what they're looking for, and they're looking for understanding of real life people with their real life businesses and the real experiences that they've had, and, as I say, some of the lessons that they've learned along the way. So we're going to seek out some of those specific things, but also around your specific area of expertise. You might have a particular specialism that we would like to think about focusing on and bringing out, because that might be useful to our business owners. So, it could be that you're an expert in leadership or an expert in marketing or something along those lines. And we'd like to maybe spend a little bit more time teasing out some of those areas and some of the things that makes you different from maybe your competition that's out there. And we will go down into some of the detail of some of those things, because what we're trying to do is to tease out some real tangible things that our listeners can put into their businesses, that they can take away and actually embed or start within their businesses. So we're looking for some high value content that the audience is going to go, oh great, there's a tip, or there's something that's specific that I can put into my business. In other words, that it's actionable and it's insightful. And the more that we can help to make you look like that real fantastic expert in that area, or really knowledgeable about your domain of expertise, then the more that that's going to be a benefit to you, and also to us, and help with those connections, which is what we really want to do. So that's what we're trying to do. And the interview flow will almost certainly begin with me asking you about your business and what exactly do you do, and what makes you different, what makes you special. So, and what's the impact that you have through your business? What do people get out of working with you? And we'll probably look at a little bit of things about what does make you different. So, who else is out there, or not necessarily so much who is out there, but what is it that separates you from the alternatives that are out there? And what's the problems? What is it you're trying to solve? What's the pain, if you like, that the people that you work with, that you're trying to solve? And is it really a problem? Is it a problem for all of us? How big is that problem? And that will also then be helping about positioning people that might be listening, that might think, actually, yeah, I've got that problem too, and they're more likely to potentially engage. So we can get down to specifics about who makes an ideal customer for you, all of those good things fairly early on, then that will be really, really good. And then I'm going to ask you some things about what got you started in this line of business in the first place. How did you come into it? Is it something that you always had a passion for right from when you were very young, or did you come into it a bit later? How did you find your way into setting up your own business in this particular field? So then we'll explore your journey to date. What were some of the milestones along the way, some of the turning points, some of the inflection points, some of the things that maybe, also both good, what maybe accelerated some of your growth, and maybe what didn't, what some of the things that maybe with a bit of hindsight you would do a little bit differently, as well as things like how do you get your clients? What's the most successful way for you to find a new audience, which of course is something that's of interest to just about every single business owner that I can think of, if not every single one. So that's what we're about. And if you're interested in what we do as well, then there's some various videos and things that you can have a look at on our website and things. But essentially, what we're about is helping business owners to make better, more informed decisions on a consistent basis. And hence ScaleUp Radio is part of that. We're expanding our knowledge and experiences, and we're learning from other people and hopefully not repeating the mistakes that somebody else might have made, but making those decisions better and on a consistent basis, so that in the long run they become more successful in creating the kind of business that they wanted to when they started out. And as I said, ScaleUp Radio is one of the ways that we do that, and we try not to do it from the point of view of our ivory tower of perfection and looking down on everybody else and saying this is what you should do, because we're certainly not perfect, and I guess you're probably not perfect either. So the more that we can share some of those things, and we're kind of in that, we're wearing the t-shirt, we're in the trenches with you kind of approach, rather than necessarily preaching to you from on high. And one mantra that we really try to live by is that old African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And you can see that that's what this is all about, really, with ScaleUp Radio. So anyway, you can find out a bit more about us and about how we work and how we help business owners. But I'm really excited to interview you, to get to know you a little bit more, understand a little bit more about your business and what makes you tick, essentially. And I'd really like to thank you for taking part and for doing this. I think you're going to really enjoy it, and I want you to get the most value out of it as possible. And don't forget, that final question that I will ask you is, how or why should people get hold of you at the end? So what's the best way for them to reach out to you? And even if I frame it in a way that sounds like that is just asking you for an email address, what that is, or a website address, what I want you to think about is, what is it that you could offer to the audience that would increase that engagement with people? So again, is there a guide or a checklist or a free resource or something that would be of value that would further that next step of engagement that you could potentially have with the audience? So I'm really grateful that our paths have crossed in this way, and certainly looking forward to hearing all of the great stuff that we're going to get out of this interview. And maybe there'll be some opportunity for us to collaborate further beyond the end of this interview, but we'll leave that until a little bit later. But it would be certainly great to understand all of the great things that you do and have a think about how maybe we could work together. So I look forward to welcoming you as my guest on ScaleUp Radio very soon.